I know you're gonna be shocked, but I actually did go on the show thinking I was gonna find the love of my life. I know, insane. I was insane in the membrane. You have to remember, it was the height of COVID. I thought we were all gonna die. So I was like, maybe God wants me to go out with like an incredible love story. Spoiler alert, we know that did not happen. Nor was it ever going to happen for me on that particular season with that particular man but alas, I did leave the show with incredible lessons about dating and romantic relationships, and then just more broadly about myself. I can make so many videos about this. I've unpacked this in many therapy sessions since then. But today, I'm going to talk about 4 lessons I learned about dating and romantic relationships from being on The Bachelor. Say it with me. Being rejected by a guy is not an indicator that you are not enough. I remember being gutted not receiving a rose like so early on in the process and feeling as if it validated every single deep-seated insecurity I had about myself. Like, oh, there's a proof that I'm not hot enough, that I'm not smart enough, that I'm just not good enough to find a romantic partner. There was like such anxiety around me having to like text my loved ones to tell them that I was voted off or didn't receive a rose. And I was just so embarrassed because yet again, here was a proof point that I couldn't keep a man. And gosh, I had to work on that a lot through therapy and realize that it is not an indicator of my value. I think a more mature person would say it's not a reflection of that other person. I'm not that mature, so I'm always going to villainize the other person. I'm going to think that they're dumb and crazy for not wanting to be with me. But in the more healed version of myself, I do say, you know, it's not a reflection of them, but I'm not there yet. So that was a really hard lesson I had to learn through going through that public rejection, because being rejected on such a main stage, that does a doozy to your self-esteem and your confidence. Someone tells you who they are, believe them. Yes, babes, believe them. And I think you can tell that you learned this very quickly on The Bachelor, because even if you look back to my season and all of the seasons of The Bachelor, you hear these leads pretty much trauma dump all of the things that they haven't worked on, and it's very telling that they haven't worked through it. And you can see how it boils up in a lot of the relationships that they pursue on the show. So when someone is actively telling you that they have commitment issues, they haven't worked through their daddy issues, you've got to believe them, and you have to understand that those issues are probably going to crop up in your romantic relationship, and you have to take a step back and say, is that something that I want to entertain? Do I think this is the foundation of a healthy relationship? And like, to be clear, we are all dealing with our own shit. That's not what I'm saying, that you have to be a perfectly healed version of yourself for love. But what I am saying is that you have to listen to people when they tell you who they are, what they're working through, and what they haven't worked through, because it can be an indicator of the health of your relationship moving forward. And I think so often in these situations, particularly as women, and I think it's heightened on the show, is that you're like, oh, look at him being vulnerable. I can fix him. I can do all these things. But babes, you cannot fix anybody. I recently got sent a TikTok about a woman who was like, reflect on the fact about how hard it is to change yourself. Why do you think that you can change another person? And that hit. She yelled so loud in that TikTok, I had no edges left. But you really do need to think about that fact, about like how hard it is to change yourself. Why do you think you can change another person? So that is something that really stuck out to me, and a lesson I had to learn by being on that show and then watching my peers, you know, date this man. The next lesson I learned is never date from a place of desperation. Don't do it, babes. It will end badly, and it's just not worth it. I remember being 28, going on the show, all my friends were married, talking about having children, and I just felt like the odd one out. Like, gosh, can I be a part of this romantic club? Can I just gain entry here? So I just felt so desperate to like find a partner so I could fit in, essentially. And when you date out of a place of desperation, you just do insane things. You're honestly so delulu. You're trying to figure out how you can be the most desirable woman to this person, and you lose yourself instead of looking inward and saying, do I even like myself when I'm with this person? Do I even like this person in general? But when you're so hyper fixated on just getting a partner, it's not good, okay? And I had learned that the hard way. I was so desperate when I went on the show, and it's stuff that I really, really had to work through. And I'm about to be 33 in a few weeks, and I'm still single, and I love the life that I cultivated. And I know whoever I bring into my life has to match my vibe, has to match my energy, has to add to this beautiful life that I've created for myself. Because at the end of the day, I would rather be home alone than at home wishing I was alone. The other lesson I learned is that I need a life outside of my partner. I need hobbies, I need friends, I need a full life. Because what that show taught me very quickly is cannot stand a bitch who can only talk about their partner 24/7. In that environment, you are constantly talking about this man. It drove me insane. I don't ever want to talk that much about my romantic partner when I'm hanging with my girls. It is so embarrassing, and it taught me I'm no codependent bitch, okay? Need my own life, need my own stuff, because that hyper obsession over another person, your romantic partner, I just do not think healthy. Yes, I will love you, bestie vibes, amazing, but I cannot be with you 24/7, talk about you 24/7. My partner should be the least interesting thing about me so that I do not feel compelled to talk about that person 24/7. Like to this day, when people ask me like what was the best part or experience of the show, it is all the women that I got to meet, and all the times that we got to yap and gap about other things outside of them. And we're just kikiing. That was the best part, you know? So there you have it. Those are just 4 lessons that I learned being a wee Bachelor reject, and I'm so thankful for them. Again, I did not leave with the love of my life, but I left with lessons that I cherish. I think this experience was amazing, and I think it's something that I needed in my life at that time. So there's many more lessons where those come from. Let me know what else you would like to know, and I'll see you next time.